Hello, 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 hello. And that is me. I am Jimmy Gonzalez. And I want to say thank you for taking the time. Some of you do this weekly. I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. I love the comments. I love the questions. I love the topics. You're all so inspirational to me, and I'm very grateful to have you in my life. And to the newbies, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, you guys will become regulars and continue to share with others what I have to say, and hopefully pick up on a few topics. And what I hope is that you will take some of the things that I say and that make you think, and then you share it with others and continue to inspire others and just pay it forward. And we can continue to do this and learn from each other and use each other's vibration and energy to resonate higher and to create amazing goals and to welcome abundance and a wonderful life, because it's possible. So welcome to the Reset Yourself 22 podcast. As she said, I'm your host. This is episode 164. That's my co-producer back there you may hear, Henry. In this weekly podcast, I focus on sparking our inner confidence and igniting our belief in ourselves. I am always extremely thrilled to share my thoughts and research with you as we go along on this journey together. We can nurture a mindset that empowers us to reach our fullest potential. I write and record every episode to challenge our thinking. Notice I keep saying ours, because as I write and record these, I learn a lot about myself too. And basically, hoping that I encourage you to reflect, to inspire actionable, realistic thoughts and goals to do the work. And this episode will be about that. Tell me what you want, and I will show you how to get it. But it's the work involved. It's, as this episode is about, it's trying and trying again and continuing to try. A common pattern that I continue to see with friends and clients when it comes to setting and reaching goals is the F word. Yes, that horrible F word. You know the F word, fear. To even get off our butts and to start moving. You see, with every action, there is a reaction. We've heard that. Think about it. Since the moment you were born, I'm talking to you. The moment you were born, you've taken action. To walk, to crawl, to walk, to run, then to drive. Do you remember before you were 16, some of us were terrified of it. Some of us longed for it. I was driving, jumping in the driver's seat of my parents' car when I was 12, 13 years old. Not by myself, obviously, but still, I was hungry. Little did I know, obviously, it was this thing that I had that I needed to get out there, to enjoy the world. I mean, I got my license on a Thursday. That Saturday, I jumped in the car by myself and I drove to New York City. And I drove all over New York City. And I had already visited there quite a bit by myself, but through the subway. And I got to know the city quite a bit, not by car. So, I mean, getting to know the city well by subway and then showing up one day by car, by yourself, having driven legally a handful of days, 2 days, was a lot to take in. I'm not going to lie. I found myself every so often like pulling over and going, where am I? Because, again, everything looked so different instead of walking, driving. But I was hungry. I love New York. I went to school in New York. I spent a lot of my life in New York City. And it's funny. I can't help but smile. It was fun. It was a big part of my life. And it's something that I wanted, and I did well. And I got into music business, and I did very well there. It was a chapter in my life. And it's nice to have seen it close and go on, and it inspired me to try newer things. But I mean, whether it's huge goals or little goals, maybe you're not trying to take over the world. Maybe your decisions, like I said, are small. But with every action, there's a reaction. Sometimes your reactions aren't what you thought they would be. Did you ever get excited over something? Maybe a relationship, maybe dating somebody, maybe going for a job interview. And one thing is said, one sentence, one word, something, and you're just like, nope, not for me. How quickly everything just comes crashing down. Maybe not in a bad way, you just decide, nope. For the past 3-4 days, you're losing sleep over. You're telling everybody about it. This is what I'm going to do. This is it. And then you do a little bit of your due diligence, a little bit of research, and you're like, no, it's not for me. And to me, that's the best thing you could do. Because I know of a lot of people that I talk to often, and well, like every couple of weeks or every couple of months, and it is a broken record. I want to do X, Y, and Z, and it's like, okay, so how closer have you gotten? Yeah, I want to do X, Y, and it's just like, so have you done any research? I mean, sadly, we now have computers. So pick it. Hey, it's funny, I just thought of this. I had a knee replacement, a full knee replacement years ago, and it was great. But the funny thing is, before I wanted to get it done, back when you're young, it's like you don't know what to expect. You go to a doctor's office, you have a knee replacement, and pretty much you get it done, good or bad. I was able to Google an app that I did, and it was so cool. The graphics, I do the operation. Like you get to see every single step, like in a cartoon base. But you're doing it. You're picking the tool. You're picking this. You're cutting this. You're stitching that. There's a part with a hammer, which is crazy, and you're banging this, and by the time I went in for the operation, I was just focused on no more fear. I didn't have time for fear, because especially in a situation like that, you need to start healing. And if you're spending your time fearful and scared, it's going to be very difficult to heal. So, I was so prepared for the operation, and surprisingly, the operation finished at 5 or 6 p.m. I was pretty much out. Around 9 or 10, they sat me in a chair, and I was numb. There was no pain yet. The next morning, I woke up. I was uncomfortable again. Pain. I was able to deal with it. But to leave the hospital the next day, I had to walk. Now, here's the thing. Not only did I have to walk, I had to go up a flight of stairs. Now, I'm 2 flights of stairs, so it was beautiful. It was all glass, which was nice. It helps because you're looking at the trees. But it's just like 1 flight of stairs, a landing where you pretty much either you vomit, you fall, you cry, you scream, and then you go up another flight of stairs. And I was able to focus, being a hypnotherapist, to focus so much my mind and meditation teacher on what I saw outside those windows, that before I knew it, I was on the first landing. Before I knew it, I was on the second landing, because my goal was I want to get out of here. I want to begin my healing. I don't want to start telling everybody how horrible I feel and how sick I am and how I need this and healing. I need to get my life back as quickly as possible. And I started physical therapy right away. And surprisingly, for those of you that may be going into surgeries, if this helps you, water therapy. And I'm not talking about with weights or anything. I went to physical therapy, and the gentleman who assisted me was a much older guy. He had retired and then come back because he was bored. And I'm happy he did, because his thing was try water therapy. What we have here is wonderful. Try water therapy. And at that time, I was a member of Planet Fitness, so I canceled that membership and I started LA Fitness, which had a pool. And all I did was walking the pool. Just walk. And then once I felt a little bit stronger, I would walk backwards. And not fast. I didn't run. And within 2, maybe 3 days, I felt amazing. The muscles in my leg came to life because I wasn't afraid to just try. I didn't make excuses, but what if this? What if that? What if I can't afford this? Then I don't eat. I need to join this gym. It was just actually ended up being less. When I told them that it was for therapy and it was for healing, they actually gave me a discount. And it was amazing. And the people there were amazing. And I took the initiative. I got off my ass. I didn't waste time with excuses. I focused on getting results. And I did. I wasn't even going to bring that story up, but now that I think about it, that was a major chapter in my life, was that operation. But I mean, it really depends on where you are in your life and where you want to go. And I mean, are you just going to go through your life complaining and just being disappointed in yourself and not happy with yourself and with your results? Because the bottom line is, and I will get into this a few times, everything is temporary. Everything you do is temporary. Nothing is forever. Death is forever. And for those of you that know me, I am a past life regressionist therapist, and even that, actually, that's for another day, but that's not completely all true, that nothing is forever. But when you stop moving, I could have just sat in the chair, which I did in the recliner, and after like day 3, I mean, how much TV? I'm not a TV watcher. I like documentaries and stuff, but I'm not one to watch regular television. So after day 3 of watching regular television, I wanted to like just start beating my knee. Like, it's like, this is ridiculous. I can't do this. And I didn't allow myself to fall apart. I started focusing on my muscles. I started focusing on healing. I mean, if you find yourself just, taking a nap is a wonderful thing. But if you look it up, naps are 20 minutes. Like, once you cross over a 30-minute nap, now you're sleeping. And now, that you're sleeping during the day, which is extremely unhealthy. It's not good because you sleep at night. And during that time that you're sleeping, you should be doing. You should be accomplishing. You should be reaching your goals. You should be getting off your ass and giving back to the planet that is giving to you. So much is being given to you to try, to strive, to work hard, to succeed, to try, to just sit there and blame things like, oh, well, I had this happen, or my favorite is I'm old. Every time I go to the gym, I get smacked in the face, really, with reality of somebody who's a lot older than me. And trust me, they haven't been working out forever. They've been working out for like a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years tops. And they woke up one day and they said, I can't continue to do this. I can't continue to be in pain. I can't continue to not be able to walk. I can continue to not feel this or feel that. No, they were like, life is too beautiful. I want to get out there. I want to walk. I want to run. I want to live. I want to enjoy everything, everybody. And to do that, you have to be willing to try and try over and over and over and over. But if you don't use it, you lose it. And to me, I mean, I bring it down to the simplest of thoughts, that the purpose of life, right? Because people talk about this all the time. It's funny, I haven't heard it much, but when I was younger, it was on television a lot. What is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to live it, to enjoy it, every aspect of it, even the bad things, because they're a part of your life. Every book has yin and yang, has good and bad, has evil and good. I mean, it is what it is. It's lessons. It's lessons that are brought in front of you to see how you do. And as I said, nothing is permanent, so you try. Everything is temporary. You try and you try again. And as you learn, you change your goals, you change your aspirations, your successes, your failures, your fumbles, your screw-ups. I mean, if you look back right now in your life, right now, yes, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Your roller coaster of emotions throughout your life, think about it. I don't know most of you watching, but I can guarantee you've all been on this roller coaster of emotions, of how there are points in your life that you can guarantee that you are ready to just surrender. You are ready to just give up. And you felt that there was no chance of accomplishing anything anymore because maybe you hit one too many obstacles and you felt that you were drowning and there was no way out of this one. Think about it. How many times? Think about it. How many times in your life did you feel like, this is it? I can't make it till tomorrow. I'm not going to survive the weekend. Especially when you're in high school, when you're young. These little obstacles, you think they're like, that's it. I failed the test. My parents will kill me, blah, blah, blah. No, just study harder. I did this, I did that. Oh my God. It is what it is. There are, the worst case scenario is you commit a crime and you end up in jail for the rest of your life. And I've read stories of people that are in that position that have more mental freedom and clarity of their mind being in a 3x4 foot cell than most of us right now that have created our own jail. That we go to work, we come home, we lose ourselves in television. We feel that we're fearful of the world out there, not realizing that there's a world out there. But instead, we're fearful. We're afraid to try, to meet, to associate, to socialize, and to savor in all the amazing things that God, the universe, has given to us. All the gifts. But instead, we put limitations and these limiting beliefs. And you know how I speak often of limiting beliefs and how many of them, sadly, were created by others as we were growing up, that they placed them in our psyche, in our subconscious mind. But the bottom line is limiting beliefs are also temporary. They can be changed. They can be removed. They can be cleaned. They can be destroyed, taken out. Take them out. You don't need them. They're not for you. They're not permanent. You may hold on to them by choice and feel that it's a part of you and it defines you. This limiting belief defines me. And it's a shame. It's a shame because, like I said, I meet people and I'm on the outside looking in. People on the outside usually have a different view of you. And sometimes they might be wrong, but sometimes it's a different set of eyes. That's why it's always good to have somebody in your life that's not judgmental, not just like a Facebook friend, but somebody that will tell you how it is and won't be afraid to, if they have to, even make you cry. Not in a bad way, in a loving way. Just hit you with some real shit and be like, you can do this. You can accomplish this. You may not think you can, but I know you. I've seen you. I've seen the stuff you've done throughout your life, and I know you can do it because you've done it. But, you want to find yourself on the path of positivity over and over and over, of goal setting, because something happens sometimes that it could be just like a quick thought that you are inspired and it's exciting and you don't want to stop doing something. You want to keep trying and trying and trying. And come on, think about it. What in your life did you, all of a sudden, somebody said something that inspired you to the point that you're like, I'm going to do this 100%. And then one day you wake up and you're like, maybe it's not for me. Which, again, my attitude is you just switch doors and you go through another one. That quickly. As quickly as that goal, that motivation was created, you can create a new one. And you don't have to jump ship and drown. You can just set your sails for a different current and just go that way. Because that's the beauty of life. And before you know it, you're surrounded by new friends, new family, new goals, a new city, a new state. A new state. Trust me, I've been here now, let's see, so September, October, November, December, January, February, March. It's going to be March soon. So we're going on 6 months. It's going on 7 months, but 6 months. And 6 months ago, I was sitting in our living room in Connecticut like, what if, are we crazy? Packing our shit up and just moving. Not even to another city or another town or another part of Connecticut, but to another state. And it's funny because every single day I get like either like, what made you move here? Why'd you move here? Like, where'd you get the passion, the drive to just pack your shit up and go without fear? And it's like, well, fear is always there. Some fear is not bad because fear helps guide you on the right path and not burning yourself. But when fear stops you from trying things, that's the problem. That's not fear. A lot of people think that's a form of fear. That's not a form of fear. Now, like, I'm not saying to jump off like a cavern into like the darkness, but you think about it. What's down there? What's going to end up happening? How long is this drop? Is there water? How deep is it? and you think ahead and you plan ahead. And that's the way you should challenge and see your entire life ahead of you. I'm not one to just jump head first. I used to. But now it's like I plan, and I don't overplan, because that's the last thing you want to do. Overplan, because all you're doing really is creating excuses to not even try. Because you're like, well, I need to plan. I'm still planning, and it's been 4 years later, and I again, as I said, I talk to people like, hey, how'd that end up going? Still planning, and it's like, it's been 3 years. Like, what are you doing? You're not planning, you just don't want to do it, which if you don't, that's fine. I mean, it is what it is, but you have to be able to try, and even the little things that inspire, even the little things. And then when you accomplish those tiny little things, you pat yourself on the back for even the smallest of goals. But then when something happens to not go, as I said, exactly how you wanted it to, all of a sudden we're on the verge of surrendering, and as I said, jumping ship and waving the white flag, and oh my God, and my life is over. Now realize that you've already been on this ship, and you've already surrendered 10 times, and you've continued moving forward. Life has a way of bringing things around again and again. It's my belief that with the whole past life thing that I was talking about, that we're here to try to accomplish things that we may not have in the past or in past lives. And we're here, and it's our job to try to learn lessons. And I really believe, from my experience with my many clients doing past life regression sessions, that if you don't accomplish those things, you have to relive them again and again and again. You have to understand there is a physical aspect to this ride of life. It may not seem like a big issue to many, but to me it is. You do damage to yourself. You hurt yourself when you allow yourself to go through these severe mood swings, that you're on top of the world, and then you find yourself beneath it. And then you're on top of the world again. And then you just feel that there's no hope. My thing is, and I've shared many times, as you get older, you get wiser. And if you're willing to listen to the world around you, and to primarily to yourself, to hear yourself talk, to hear yourself think, to see yourself in a mirror, to see your reflection of how far you've come, not just from 5 years ago, from yesterday, and to get to know yourself unlike anybody else has, to not be ashamed of all the things you've done, the secrets, the sins, the mistakes, the dumb shit you've done. You've done a lot of dumb shit. I know especially you've done a lot of dumb shit. But I mean, so what? At some point, you have to be able to laugh it off, chalk it off, and go, all right, I did a lot of dumb shit. Hopefully, the concept is you don't continue to do dumb shit. You put it behind you, and at some point you laugh, and you realize, I did that. I did this. I thought I could accomplish this, and that, and that was dumb. But the bottom line is, I don't want to say it was dumb. I just want to say it wasn't planned out. Because if it was planned out, chances are you would have automatically gone, that's not going to work. Let me modify it. Let me change it. Let me edit it a little bit, and let me try this. And chances are maybe that'll work. Because that's the whole jumping into things head first, which I used to do when I was younger. I used to just say, I'm going to do it all. And things wouldn't work out. The good thing is I was always driven enough and stubborn enough to just keep trying. I'd get up, cut up, beat up, bleeding, and just go, all right, I'm going to do it again. And I would modify it, and I would try it again. And I'd get hit, and I would get knocked down, and I would stand up and dust off and go, this has to work. Why isn't it working? Let me try again. And I'm blessed that I got to accomplish a ton of stuff in my life. I got to put myself in some amazing positions. Pretty cool chapters, let's say, in my life. And again, but like I said, everything is temporary. It's always temporary. But now at some point, you're always back to square one. And you feel that sometimes for some of us, well, I can't start again. I mean, I accomplished everything. It's like you didn't accomplish everything. The story ends when you take your last breath. That's when your story ends. Until then, you keep getting up. You keep trying. You keep trying and struggling and working and moving forward. I mean, I recently spoke to somebody who has always motivated me very, very well, a young gentleman. And I mean, probably honestly, one of the hardest working people I've met in some time. And I've noticed over the past few months, of course, weather is a big issue because their job primarily is working outside. And it seems to me like they've slowed down quite a bit. And now what ends up happening is just they start finding themselves repeating that, like, there's nothing to do and I don't know what to do and I'm lost and, my goals are shot and severed, and which is really the worst thing you can do. Repeating those negative phrases. Do you find yourself repeating negative phrases? Because you shouldn't. The I can't, this is too difficult, I'm getting too old for this, I just can't do this. And I just quickly said, the bottom line, dude, is that the weather's shitty and it is what it is. And it's that simple. And before you know it, flowers will bloom and the grass will grow and everything's, before you know it, you're back to working again, 40 plus hours. But you can't forget that. You can't forget those things. And I asked him, I said, so how was last year? And he was like, oh my God, he was so gung-ho. He admitted that his past year was the best year of his life. He was really getting focused on what he wanted to do with his career. And it's funny because just by him talking about last year, he was so inspired, and he had a smile from ear to ear that all of a sudden, it's like you could tell he wanted to take over the world. He felt that nothing could hold him back. And then, of course, he goes back to, but it's been slow, it's been this, it's been that. And I'm like, right, but the reality is it's winter. Winter's a time to stop. It's a time to hibernate. It's a time to plan. It's rain, it's cold. It's okay. So what are you supposed to do? You can get mad at the weather? You beat Mother Nature's ass? It's part of life. By now, you should know that, there are a lot of businesses, ice cream shops and stuff like that, that they do well during their correct season. And then once the season is over, they close and they prepare and they plan and they rest. And then as the season gets closer, they start getting ready and they start getting that itch of what are they going to do and what they did last year and what they shouldn't have done last year and how to better last year's results. That goes for everything. To me, winter is sometimes forcing us to slow down, to breathe, to think. As I said, it's time to hibernate. Even the hunters and warriors of the past, that's what they would do. They would hibernate, preparing for the fight. They would prepare to pillage. Don't pillage. But that's what they did. They prepared for the next season, the new ventures in their lives. The smart ones would plan and prepare even before the season began. I told him, I said, the problem you're having is that you're not focused on the correct things that you should be focused on. And of course, he admitted, yeah, I can only watch Netflix and watch movies so much. And I'm like, I completely understand that, but this is a time to relax. This is a time to prepare and heal for the new season, for the new ventures, for the new goals. This is a time to enjoy everything that you've accomplished over the past year. Like I said, before you know it, the buds are growing, the grass is growing, and you're gung-ho again. What do you see yourself doing in the next few weeks, the next few months? Where do you see yourself now that you have an idea of how you did last year? Where do you see yourself this year? How much do you see yourself making? Put numbers to your thoughts. Put a goal. And the thing is, a lot of people I've come to realize won't set goals because they're afraid of not reaching them. You're not going to reach every goal. So because of that, you're not even going to try them. And I'm like, this fear of failure, which is non-existent, which destroys people, it's non-existent. It's something that you create in your mind. And as quickly as you can create a fear of failure, you can create a hunger for success just as equally. But as I said, what is your interest? Maybe if you're worrying that much, it's just not for you. How many of you have enrolled in a school, have enrolled in a course, have gotten a job, and day one, day two gone, not for me. But because society is so judgmental, you're like, oh my God, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm broken. No. First off, it's you against you. It's you against you. It has always been you against you. It's not you against your neighbor. It's not you against your coworker. It's not you against somebody that you're trying to sell more than at work, somebody you're trying to inspire more at work, or the Joneses across the street. You know how I feel about the Joneses across the street. It's just non-existent. It's the stuff that we create that is mentally non-existent. It is up to you to focus on who you were, where you were, and your many, if hopefully not many, and your limitations. And looking forward to new changes, new ideas, new goals, a new sense of motivation of how you can make this year better than last year and next year better than this year. Or you could just, sit and chill and watch Netflix. Teach their own. But again, it's just, you got to figure out what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to change? You can't focus on the negative aspects, the problems. What do you want to do with your life? That is something I've been asking since the first podcast. And I've actually had people write to me go, I've never thought of it that way. What do you want to do with your life? A lot of it does have to do with, as I like to say, interference from what our parents wanted for us, what our teachers thought we should be doing with our lives. Growing up, I had a lot of people tell me that I should be a politician. I always thought that was funny. Do you see me as a politician? Actually, I like the idea of politicians because I like to be able to help people. The problem is, for so many, it seems that once you get into this world of politicians, there's a lot of corrupt thinking and a lot of power-hungry people, or people that aren't power-hungry become powerful in their minds, and now they take advantage of the regular Joe, the people that are still trying to make it, the people that voted you in. And now you're just focused on you and enhancing your career. I mean, now with everything that's coming on up with Elon, and it's obviously real where a lot of this money has been going to. But my thing is, for how long has all of this money been going to these odd places, funneling trillions of dollars to just odd places? It's a shame. But spring is here. Soon. I haven't done that spring show yet, but I mean, spring is here. And for many of us, you can happily do the same thing for the next 40 years. And then there are many of us who can't. Actually, here's a fascinating story, which I still think is a wonderful story, of a gentleman that I know, that he was a pharmacist for 30 plus years, 32, 34 years. I think it was his first job. And he has been sitting, which I can't help but see it almost as a magical thing. He's been sitting in the same chair, in the same office for all of these years, in the same area of a pharmacy for all of these years. Same counter, same building, same drive there, same parking space, same lunch routine. And he just found out they're closing. And obviously he just realized the whole corporate world and how corporate doesn't care. They're about number, which is funny because a lot of people want to work for corporate because it's like it's better money and it's this, and that. But again, every job that's out there has its plus and minuses. Everybody. To me, pretty much it's equal across the board. And he's a very serious older gentleman. And from what I've heard stories, this situation has been truly, truly fucking with his mind. Because he has given of himself for 30 years to this place. Now, mind you, they've given to him too. They've given him a paycheck. They've supported him and his family, his children. It's a beautiful thing. But now it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? This is who I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to die here. Well, obviously, God doesn't want that for you. There's more to it than just that. You might have been a pharmacist for 30 plus years, but that doesn't define who you are. You're still a father. You're still a husband. You're still a friend. There's still so many other aspects. So obviously, sadly, this chapter is supposed to close on you so that you can now focus on your next chapter. So right there, and I'm talking to so many of you yourselves. I mean, there's nothing wrong with changing from chapter to chapter. It's life. It is scary, and I get it. Just like for me coming down here, people are like, weren't you afraid? No, what I did was when the moment fear started coming into my mind, I started focusing on the truck that we were going to rent and how we were going to pack and all of the work that I had to do to put into the house so that we can get the best dollar amount for it. So by the time fear struck, I was already living here. I was here like maybe 2-3 days. And then now fear just comes along and it's just like, well, I'm crazy. And it's like, I'm here, which is funny because like I said, I've been here 6 months. And every morning, every night, every time I walk out there, I look around, I go, I'm in Kentucky. I've been in Connecticut for 54 years. I'm in Kentucky, rural Kentucky, South Central Kentucky. And it's funny because everybody that I talk to, the minute they meet me, they hear my voice and they're like, where are you from? Connecticut. Fairfield County, Connecticut, by far one of the busiest parts of the country. Rat race on steroids. And now if you look out my front window, every few hours, monster tractors go down the street, taking bales of hay to different properties of cattle, to horses. I have all Amish, ex-Amish, and farmers. Residential families on this street. This is a very long street, but it's funny. This street in Connecticut, easily, average, would have this street in Connecticut, wow, would have a few hundred homes. Easily, a few hundred homes. I'm not even exaggerating now I think about it. Both sides, house. Some decent yards, some bigger yards, some smaller yards. Here, from the corner over there's a church way at the corner. And over here, there's an old corner store, which has been closed now for years. I'd say there's probably 20 families on this street. My front property goes on forever. For me, when I'm feeling that my sugar's a little high or I'm not feeling right, I just walk my property. And by the time I get back, I'm stable. I'm fine. It's hilarious. Just walk my own property. I don't even have to go to the gym. And I feel wonderful when I'm done. Because I see horses, I see cattle. I know there's donkeys over here. There's chickens. It's amazing. So I wasn't afraid to just try. I focused more on trying instead of the fear behind it. But this gentleman, it's sad because he had planned so much. He never thought like what could happen. I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to die here. And the universe just stepped up and said, no, there's more to you than just being a pharmacist. And now he's being challenged, and now he's very confused, very hurt, dealing with regrets, dealing with remorse, the stages of grief, not realizing that at the bottom line, it's still corporate. It's still a corporate world. It's not your world. You're just a number. To the customers and clientele he's had for years. Think about it. He has worked with grandparents, parents, children, and their children. Full families. And he knows it because every day they've been coming in most of them not even picking up prescriptions, just to say goodbye and thank you. And he's not an emotional person, and he's just constantly crying. It's a beautiful thing. Hats off to him. Hats off to his life of not just giving out medicine, but like he's inspired people. People in these small towns, they go to the pharmacist for goals, for ideas, for advice, what to take, what not to take. He's more than just your typical pharmacist. He's a hero. He's a hero in this community. He really is. But I personally have worn many hats in my life. I've tried many things. And I like to think I've done well at everything that I've tried. And I have an issue. I do put too much into stuff, and I go over the top, and I can't just do things a little bit. I have to totally lose myself and engulf myself in the entire concept of what is. I have some new stuff that I'm working on that, again, I'm losing myself completely into that. But it's my life, it's my book, it's my chapters. Like I had a show once called The Dash, which is about on your gravestone. The year you're born, the year you die, that dash in the middle. What does that dash represent to you? Even though it's a tiny little dash. It's funny because you have your year you're born, so that's 4 numbers. You have a year you die, that's 4 numbers. That's 8 numbers. Then you have this tiny little dash, which is probably like an inch big. That dash represents so much. Countless memories, countless stories. So much laughter, so much sadness, so much pain. So much time. And right now, if you're listening to this, you're still on your dash. You're still on your dash. What else are you doing? Because to me, that's my life, my dash. I love my dash. I would love to die and know that people can look back on my life and go, wow, he did a lot. He loved his life. He wanted to try it all, accomplish it all. And he did well with a lot of it. And some of it he didn't. And some of it I just close the chapters before they can get started to go, it's not for me. Not a big deal. Not everything is going to be for me. But I've gotten to share my life with some amazing people. I've worked alongside some amazing people. Some of the most hardworking, driven people. I've also had the amazing pleasure of working with the laziest people in my life. People that would come into work early morning dragging their feet because they were tired. And I'm like, didn't you sleep? Didn't you go home and rest? But and all they would do is complain about their job and complain about their life and complain about their wife and complain about their husband and their pets and their diet and their health and their money. Not realizing that the ball of life has always been yours. The ball of life has always been yours. It's up to you to accomplish your goals. It is up to you to decide what you want to put on your big boy and big girl pants and take blame. And the reason to me why that is important, very, very important, is that when you start by taking blame, it's almost like that's how you start to reset your life. You don't continue to live fumbling and screwing up. You get up and you go, okay, I need to stop. I need to stop making this one mistake. I need to take responsibility. I need to figure this out. What am I doing wrong? Okay, I need to stop. Do I need to take a class, a course? Do I need advice? Do I need to sit and share my sins with somebody? I need to start again, clear start. Without judgment, without pointing fingers at everybody who supposedly has held me back. Because that's just a crock of shit. You're not looking for anybody else to come and save you because it's not happening. It's for you to one day wake up and go, wow, I made a bad decision. Or one day wake up in this career and realize, I don't like it anymore. Or I don't want to do this anymore. Or I'm not happy in this relationship anymore. And I don't want to be married anymore. Or I want to be married. And again, society has this thing that it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you gave up. Or I can't believe you walked away from whatever. And to me, it's like, it's human nature. It's human nature. That's what humans do. We change. Supposedly our bodies change every 7 years. They say, depending on which study you look up. Your mind, your body. And ask yourself, even when it comes to the 7 years, let's pick that. 7 years. Where were you 7 years ago? 7 years ago, is that 2019, 2018? Where were you? Right before 2020. What were you planning on doing? What were your goals? Where was your mindset? What were your dreams at that time? What did you have in mind to accomplish? Then COVID happened. The funny thing with COVID, I find myself less and less, but still talking about COVID to this day with people. That seems to be still a sore subject for many, and for others, a diving board. For many, surprisingly. For me, especially in Connecticut, a lot of people, much more of a diving board to new choices, new opportunities, new possibilities. It's awesome. So many people have changed their complete careers. People have walked away from their homes, from their marriages, gotten divorced, and say, you know what, I thought I was happy, and I'm not. And I know many of you are like, really? Yeah, that's life. That's life. A lot of people just got up one day from their jobs when their jobs made it a little bit too difficult for them and said, I can do this on my own. I can do this for somebody else. It's what you choose to make of your life and how you perceive the grand scheme of things. You got to be focused on moving forward and not just sitting and waiting for something or someone to just show up like the lottery or Ed McMahon to give you a check and say, here you go. Here's some more money. God, I personally hope you win and accomplish all the things you want in your life, especially good health. But, I mean, even then, what are you going to do with it? Like, it's funny when you tell people, like, okay, so if you had $1 million, what would you do? And the first answer usually is buy some shit. It's like, again, to each their own, but it's just, I don't know, it just makes me laugh. It's like you have the opportunity to try again. Like now everybody's talking about this $5,000 stimulus check. And I can't help but wonder, what are people going to do with it? I understand it's to help the economy. And it's funny because I just had a conversation with Melissa about this, and I think we chose to not agree on certain things, but which is fine. But I mean, it is helping the economy, and I mean, how many televisions can you own? How many new cell phones? How many more electronics can you have? How many luxuries could you buy that you didn't really need or didn't think you needed until you got the money? Now, all of a sudden, whatever you have is garbage because now you have the opportunity and the chance to buy something better, something new to purchase, something new to own. Because, like I said, when you didn't work for the money, it makes it so much easier to spend it. When you work for it, when you slave for it, you hold on to that dollar bill a lot longer when you slaved and you sweated for it. It's just not a free check. I mean, to me, I actually had an opinion, and it's just mine, that this money should be given to people with the condition that they need to do something with it to better themselves. I don't care if it's even to just help them join a gym and to keep them going, but I mean, or to go back to school or to take an online course. If they have a hobby, maybe start a business out of it. I mean, we have so many things in the back burner where we start looking back on that back burner and going, well, I mean, if this money was to come, what can I bring to life? What can I start? What opportunities can I maybe possibly start making money off of? I mean, what better way to take a risk when it's actually not your money? So you can try something, and if you screw it up, well, I mean, it sucks, but it wasn't your money. But at least you're trying to better yourself. I am a very strong believer in teaching people to fish. I'm not one to just give people fish. I want to make you think and make you figure out how you can better yourself without me. Like even this show, I'm not trying to teach anybody. I'm just trying to guide you based on what I've learned in my mistakes, my many mistakes. Strive and work and sweat. Because to me, there's nothing like sweat equity. Sweat equity is what creates entrepreneurs, billionaires, trillionaires, millionaires. Busting your balls to accomplish something, to start a practice, to start a business, to start a career, to start a goal, to buy a food truck. I don't know. To create something from nothing, especially when it's surrounding yourself with others. Actually, my neighbor stated something the other day which I thought was interesting. He says, I had goals that I thought were so far-fetched. Fast forward 6 months, a year, I've already accomplished them. And now I'm thinking to myself, those goals that I thought were so far-fetched obviously weren't. Now I have new goals that once again I think are far-fetched. And I just looked at him and I go, but you know they're not. And he goes, I know. Now I have experience. And I start to learn what I can and can't do. And he's like, I can pretty much do whatever I put my mind to. And I'm like, yes, you can. You totally can. But it's up to you to do that. Especially like starting a business, starting an office, and before you know it, you're feeding other people. You're hiring people. You have employees, you have staff. You're feeding their families. You know, you're helping someone else's kids go to school because of something that you thought of one day. How magical is that? Think about that. Simply because you weren't afraid. You were willing to try and try again. Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing every day that scares you. She encapsulates the essence of embracing challenges and stepping out of our comfort zones. The fear of failure often holds us back, preventing us from realizing our full, incredible, amazing, magical potential. However, it is through embracing challenges and not fearing the unknown that you and I grow. this essay, this story, this podcast, her quote explores the importance of having a growth mindset, overcoming the fear of failure, and building resilience through our many challenges. This failure, it's a common barrier that prevents many individuals, many of us, to just take risks at all. This fear can stem from various sources, such as, again, society and social media, and even our own past experiences, or even our own self-doubt. When we fear failure, we are less likely to take on new challenges or pursue our passions, which can lead to so many missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. How many doors did you screw up and let close on you? A growth mindset, as opposed to a fixed mindset, is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and sweat equity. Embracing a growth mindset allows us to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats. By adopting this mindset, you can and will overcome your fear of failure. That's why I always say, try something new. Trying new things, they feel exhilarating, like inspiring, and at the same time, a little terrifying. The thought of stepping outside of your comfort zone often does trigger fear. And of course, what if, and the fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success sometimes. It was Melissa who brought that to my attention a few times, that I suffer from a fear of success. Isn't that crazy? And, I had to really break it down what the hell that even means. And it took a while, and I was like, wow, I do. I'm afraid to succeed. It's almost like I feel like it's the end. Like, to me, my favorite part of working and striving and dreaming is the actual journey. And then once I've reached the journey, in my mind, I almost feel like story's over. And it sucks. But I'm a journey person. I love getting there. I love striving. I love trying and falling and failing and trying and falling and failing and trying again and falling and failing. That's me. I love that. Because as I'm doing it, I'm not knocking myself. I'm not mean to myself. I'm like, okay, what will I try harder? What will I see differently? What opportunities that I let go will I focus on again? I mean, fear is a natural response designed to protect us from danger. I understand that. But in modern society, it often manifests as just self-doubt. You're not running from a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You're not running from, terror. You're just now second-guessing yourself, doubting yourself, hesitating, rather than that survival instinct. It's like, well, if I don't do it, I don't do it. End of day, who cares? I'm going to take a nap, focus on tomorrow. But tomorrow turns to next week, and next week turns to next month. And like many people that I know have been focused on the same goal for a year, 2 years now. And I've gotten nowhere closer. I just had a wonderful conversation with one of my favorite people yesterday. And she's focused on the negative aspects of her life, the things that in her mind have been keeping her down. And my thing was like, well, that's fine. But you still need to focus more light on the things that are keeping you up and are keeping you inspired, and the opportunities ahead of you, not the anchors behind you. I mean, again, what happens is this leads to so many missed opportunities and stagnation, and a reluctance to explore your fullest potential. And that's one thing she has. She has a lot of potential. And fear of failure is particularly paralyzing because it feeds into such a negative group of self-perceptions and making us believe that mistakes define our abilities and that we're just losers and we can't accomplish anything. I can't do anything. I can't accomplish anything. You gotta avoiding challenges due to fear results in regret and such dissatisfaction towards yourself. This regret grows and stems like a cancer from not trusting yourself enough to try again and try again and try again. While fear might provide temporary comfort by keeping us in some familiar situations where we're comfortable for a moment, it's again, everything is temporary. Come tomorrow, your goals are there again, and what are you going to do? Are you going to make more money? Are you going to grow a better business, like a new career? Are you going to go back to school? It's the importance of the growth mindset. One of the most powerful ways to overcome fear and embrace challenges is by cultivating, creating, manifesting a growth mindset. A growth mindset. Carol Dweck. Actually, I was just talking about it the other day. Psychologist Carol Dweck. It's her belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and perseverance. Trying and trying again. People with a fixed mindset, on the other hand, believe that their talents are static and that failure is an indication of their many limitations, not realizing that those limitations were created and stunted by them. Building resilience through challenges, getting up there and fighting again and fighting again. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks and persist despite the many difficulties of life. It is a crucial trait for anyone looking to embrace challenges without fear. Those who are resilient do not let failure define them. Instead, they use it as a motivation to improve themselves. Every successful individual has faced obstacles and failures at some point. But what sets them apart is the ability to rise and rise and rise again. Building resilience requires practice and intentional effort. Resilience. Love that word. One way to develop resilience is through self-reflection. Oh, God. Yes. Stop pointing fingers at other people and just point fingers back at you. When we encounter failure, it is important to analyze what went wrong and what can be learned from that last experience. This mindset allows us to view setbacks as just temporary and solvable rather than such insurmountable defeats and crushing blows, and your life is coming. Where'd the cat go? Oh. And it's just, there he is on a chair. So it's like developing a habit of perseverance ensures that we continue trying. And that's the word for today, try. Even when things do not go as planned, try. Having a support system. That's another thing. You want to surround yourself with some pretty badass people that will push you in a nice way. Good friends, good family, good mentors, and a good community that can provide encouragement and valuable feedback, making the journey a little less intimidating. When you fall, they pick you up. When you fall, they pick you up. When they fall, they pick you up. They don't pick on you. They don't belittle you. They don't tell you you're wasting your time. You're on the wrong path. Are you stupid? A good support system is very influential in your future. It reinforces your confidence and motivation. And I always recommend mentors. There are people that are super successful, trillionaires that have mentors to keep them on path, especially those people because they have so much going on. They need somebody to keep them on task, to keep them focused. It can be beneficial to anybody. Everybody should have a mentor, not just a friend that tells you what to do and not to do in a jerky way. It's just somebody that mentors you, that guides you based on what they know about you, not what they think how they would. That's a big thing. Telling somebody how I feel that you should do this because I haven't said it, but because that's how I would do it. And it's like how I would do it is very different from how you would do it. I see the world very differently. Because think about it. In my 54 years, I have experienced my life very differently than you. So for me to tell you, oh my God, you need to just do it like this. And it's just like, well, probably not. It is up to you at that point to hear me out and hear that person out and that person and that person. And then sit there and go, okay, so how should I handle this? How should I view this? How should I perceive this? Based on my strengths and my weaknesses. What can I handle and what can't I handle? And then that's when you get up and you start moving forward. Notice I didn't say sit. I said get up and start moving forward. I mean, peer support plays a significant role in overcoming fear. People will kick your ass and go, come on, you can do it. Do it again. Connecting with others who are also striving to step out of their comfort zones and try things too. That's a great thing. It creates a sense of accountability and shared motivation together. You're not alone. When people support one another, they create an environment where taking risks is encouraged and celebrated. Here are some exercises. As you know, I always give you some type of homework to make you think. One is I don't believe in starting from 0 to 60. I'm like more go from 0 to like 17 and then work up to 25 and then 30 and then 40. As I said, crawl before you can walk, before you can run. So to me, it's gradual exposure to this mindset instead of diving into new challenges all at once, because that's a big thing people do. Like, I've never been to the gym. I know I need to work out, and I'm going to go join the most expensive gym, and I'm going to go, there's 7 days in a week. I'm going to go 7 days. Like, why? You know you're going to fail. I hate to say it, but chances are you're going to fail. You have to be more realistic and have more manageable steps. For example, if public speaking, let's just say, if public speaking is intimidated by you, I had a lot of people who come to me for that. Start by practicing public speaking, ready? In front of a group of one. You. Just stand in front of a mirror. Start with that. Then maybe add a group of friends. Having dinner, stand up and talk about a topic and get the feeling of what it's like. See, I didn't tell you to run out in front of a group of 5,000. Some of us can do it. Love it. Some of us can't. That doesn't make me better or weaker than you. It's just everybody's different. So that's what I mean. You need to figure out what works for you. That's why my thing is always like, instead of telling people, you need to do X, Y, and Z, that's how I would do X, Y, and Z. To me, I always tell you, crawl first. So go home, find yourself a nice long mirror, put it somewhere, and talk to it. Watch your body language, how you react, how you look. And then, of course, there's reframing, which is a huge thing in hypnosis. Reframing negative thoughts. Whenever fear or self-doubt arise, challenge those thoughts with positive affirmations. Instead of thinking, I am not good enough, replace it with, I am learning and improving with each attempt. Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better. This practice helps shift the focus of your mind of believing this garbage that you're not good enough. Of course you're good enough. Of course you can do it. Of course you can do it. But you got to be careful with what comes out of here, because what comes out of here is heard here. And you actually start believing this bullshit that you're saying to yourself, that you can't, that you're not worthy. That's bullshit. Keep a journal. Either write it or keep it on your phone or record it. Keep a journal to document all the challenges that you're facing, all the steps that you're going through. I mean, think about it. How many entrepreneurs and rich people now have books talking about their life? They didn't just sit down and write them. They've had them already sketched out throughout their lives. The things they've done, the screw-ups, the mistakes, the mishaps. They didn't hide them. Why? Now you share them with others and go, hey, everybody that wants to do what I'm doing, don't do this. Don't do that. Again, you may, and if you want to, fine. I'm just going to tell you, chances are, if you try this, and that, it may blow up in your face. I only say this because it blew up on my face 10 times, but look at me now. So that's a big reason why a lot of you'll hear people say journal and reflect, and journal and reflect, and and deal with the fears associated with your mistakes and the lessons learned. Writing down your experiences helps in processing emotions and recognizing your personal growth and how far you've gone and you've come, which is awesome. And you hear people, manifestations, visualizing success before attempting something new can reduce anxiety and increase confidence. Imagine yourself, see yourself, view yourself, feel yourself successfully completing a challenge and focusing on the positive emotions associated with those accomplishments. Stop putting the concept of success so far away from you and seeing that the rest of the world can accomplish these goals, but I can't. I want, I need, which are horrible words because you say it enough. As I said in I think the last podcast, you see that as want you will always want, you will always need. I know you do, but stop saying it. Just focus on getting to it. Focus on getting to it. What needs to be done today to bring yourself a little bit closer to your goal? That's something I used to share with a group of my friends when I was younger. We were a bunch of us, we were all into business, music business. And my thing was always focus on where you see yourself already and be there. Accomplish it, taste it, smell it, feel it, hear it. Stop like, one day I will do this. Hopefully I plan on. And that's another thing. I plan. Okay, planning means you plan. So did you write it down? Did you write out a chart? Did you map it out? Or are you just saying your map, I plan. I'm planning on doing this. I'm planning on doing that. Fear often stems from our fear of judgment. Stop being so judgmental about yourself. Seek feedback from good people, trusted people. Don't be afraid to ask people, how do you think I did? And hopefully if they're good people, they'll be honest with you and be like, well, I expected more from you. And I felt that you dropped the ball and you shouldn't have. I think you're an amazing person. I think you're super talented. I think you got lazy and you should get up there and try again. Because I know you can. And then what happens is when you're faced with fear, you ask yourself, what's the worst possible outcome. The worst possible outcome. It's often the reality is far less daunting. Usually the worst possible thing that could happen to you is actually not that bad. And it doesn't, how long does it last? That's the funny thing is we focus so much on failures and it's like they don't even last that long. Before you know it, you're on to the next. Understanding that failure is not the end, but rather a learning experience that can help ease your anxiety. So, in conclusion, try something new. And overcoming the fear of failure, understand is just a journey that requires a shift in mindset and resilience and the support of good people. Fear may always exist, but it does not have to dictate your choice. By embracing challenges with curiosity and determination, you open yourselves to new opportunities, new skills, and personal growth. You develop a growth mindset, build resilience, and utilize practical strategies to overcome fear. And it empowers you to take control of your life. The rewards of pushing past fear far outweigh the comfort of staying in the familiar. When you're in the familiar, it's a nice place to be. But, when you're in there a little bit too long, in the familiar, nothing's changing. Nothing's getting better. There's no growth. You're comfortable. You're not challenging yourself. But nothing's changing. There's no growth. It's like having a bag of seeds and just holding on to the seeds and holding on to the seeds and being afraid to go out there and get your hands dirty in some dirt and plant them and make them grow. Or you can just keep holding on to these seeds, put them in a plastic bag and put them up in a cabinet somewhere and just do nothing. For inspiration, and again, there are so many people that may not be celebrities because people, whenever I talk about celebrities, I want you to understand that, the average Joe, who to me has shared more and more inspirational than most people, but you never know these people because they're not known. But there are so many people that know that are surrounding you right now that you can take the time and ask them, like, how did you make it? How far have you gone? Tell me about your history, especially old people. I love old people. I love asking them, what made them tick? What made them talk? How far did they go? What were their goals? What were their failures? Especially when I see old couples, like in a restaurant, I'll go up to them and be like, so what is the secret of your relationship? Most of the time you get wonderful things. No, most of the time you get some funny jokes, like off-color jokes, but it's hilarious. They pick on themselves. But that's, to me, humor is what makes a relationship last forever. Humor. You have to be willing to laugh at each other and to laugh especially at yourself. But that's what I always say. If you ever see somebody who maybe is even in a place where you would like to be, ask them their story. How far have you come? What have you done? What didn't you do? Why did you do it? There are some really fascinating people around you. Since I've been here in Kentucky, I have met some amazing people, some wonderful stories of how people have struggled and tried until they finally made something of themselves. There's been a lot of good stories, a lot of bad stories. A lot of ups and a lot of downs, but this shouldn't be something to keep you from even trying. And I mean, I would love to share more stories. I mean, I've shared in the past, I would love to do a podcast that I just interview the average Joe. Because the average Joe has been through just as much, but you can't help but talk about celebrities because we all know them. But, one that always comes to mind who has passed, all the money in the world, Steve Jobs. Despite founding Apple and Apple computers and everything that comes along with Apple, he actually, people don't know this, was fired. He was fired from the company in the 80s due to internal conflicts. And trust me, he wasn't happy. It's his company. He created it. But he later returned. He fought and he strived and he brought it back to an incredible success with products like the iPhone and iPad. Sadly, with all the money, as I said, he still became sick and passed. So you cherish everything you have. But what an inspirational life of struggles and ups and downs. Lots of people like to just see the success, the end results, not realizing that there was a whole path before that, like Disney. People just see Disney and his pictures of him standing with Mickey Mouse and the kingdom, and oh my God, this guy is just rolling in dough, not realizing that he was an average Joe. He really was. He was an average Joe, another person that people just assumed, were born with a silver spoon. This man failed. I mean, you could actually Google his house. He actually lived in a garage. He failed many businesses, many ventures, many animation people. There was somebody said that he would never draw. He could never draw. And he went through bankruptcy, and shitty life. But before he finally achieved success with Mickey Mouse. And I mean, the rest is history. His story. I mean, there are so many people that you can just Google right now for inspiration. There are people that maybe you like or you think of. Google their story. Wikipedia. Richard Branson created Virgin Airlines. That man is so many things. You have Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, in the beginning, now people see him as a successful movie maker. He had a lot of problems in the beginning. Oprah Winfrey, that lady has been through hell and back. And his funny thing is, I remember when she first started, when she was just a regular newscaster in Chicago. I think it was Chicago. But it's like, she, being a woman and being black, she was treated like shit, especially by men in her career. So I give the lady credit. Oh, but now she's a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, and some people like her, some people don't. I don't get involved in people's politics or people's story. All I know is that she started with nothing and she hustled and she is where she's gotten to where she's gotten. And for that, simply, I applaud her. But I mean, another story, which is funny. There was this store it's been around, but it was in Connecticut in Danbury Mall called Teavana. And it was a cool store. It was a tea store, but not like you could sit down and have tea. You buy tea. And in the back against the wall behind the registers, they had these giant tins. And you would buy loose tea. And they had this thing that you'd be like, oh, I want to, like so many. Like from ceiling to floor, it was just these big canisters of tea with the name on it. And they were trained to grab the tea, put it on the counter, and they would flip the top open, and they would do this thing that they would wave it at you so you can smell the tea. And it was just the combinations of tea were amazing. And then you'd buy them by the pound or by the cup or by this or that. And then in the front, they sold different type of teapots, but in the front they had a tea dispenser. So of course, I would just, every time I'd walk by, I'd grab some more tea, little cups. But they usually had 2 different flavors to choose from every day. So whenever I went, I made sure I beelined it to Teavana. And I would hit them up 5 times. And then one day, I went and this successful, amazing, wonderful store was gone. And I was like, what happened? Well, what happened was... what was his name? The gentleman, there was Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz was one of the creators of Starbucks, and he himself he bought Teavana, which was weird because it's like he bought it and then they just closed. And his idea was to create a Starbucks coffee version, but of tea. And the same thing, just specializing in tea. And it didn't go anywhere because, as many of you right now are going Tivana, it was a bad decision. It was a flop, and he failed to attract customers in that style, and he had to close and lose everything involving Tivana in 2017. Well, what did he learn? Well, besides losing a lot, trust me, he's fine. But he was able to learn the importance of aligning his product offerings with his consumer preferences. It's not a big deal. Guess he was a little too excited and he didn't really think things through enough. This happens. For those of you that maybe have never heard of Alibaba, I've done some business with them. Very inexpensive, but they're overseas, which makes it difficult. They are like they're like an Amazon, which is like it's another online shopping platform. But Alibaba is now one of the largest e-commerce platforms globally, and in 2014, it faced gigantic hurdles because he's dealing with the entire planet, trying to sell his product everywhere. So Jack Ma, which is the creator, the brains behind Alibaba, Google him, Jack Ma, M-A. He dealt with regulatory scrutiny and political tensions, which affected its planned secondary list. I mean, he went through a lot of crap, and things kept getting postponed, and he stated quite a few times he was like on the verge of just walking away, but he didn't. And it just highlighted the challenges of navigating through all these regulatory things and environments. And I mean, it's on a much larger scale, and he had to learn the hard way. But if you Google him now, he's still one of the richest men in the world. He didn't focus on his failures. He focused on continuing to go forward and forward and forward and forward. So now my question is, are you going forward and forward and forward and forward, or are you just sitting and sitting and sitting and sitting? I mean, again, please do not put these people up on these high pedestals like they're unattainable, unreachable pedestals that their dreams and goals are unlike yours, and you just want to accomplish small things. So then my thing is good. So then why can't you accomplish your small things? Okay, so you're not trying to take over the world. You're not trying to create a new Amazon. So what are you trying to do? Get a good job that pays a good living, that maybe gives you a couple good days off and you have a future? All right, so it sounds a lot more realistic than taking over the world with Amazon too. So what's keeping you back? Think about that. Get off your ass. Start planning ahead. Spring is almost here. This is a time to start putting your feelers out there into the world, and what do you see yourself doing come April, May, June, July? Because yes, we're just entering March, but tomorrow will be April. It's that quick. Then May, June, July, and before you know it, winter's here again. It happens that quickly. Stop living on autopilot. Stop being numb. I understand winter came, winter's gone. Stuff is going to start growing again, just like you. It's going to start growing again. Your inspiration is going to start growing again. You got to try, like I know you can. I know you can. Try. And this was the 164th episode of the Reset Yourself 22 podcast. My name is Jimmy Gonzalez. It has truly been an honor to record this, to write this, and to share this with you. Hopefully I made you think. I hope I got some of you to start planning for your future, what you see yourself doing. I want to thank everybody that has inspired me, and that's a lot of people. Not just clients, friends, family, people that I've only heard stories on in the news that made me think, good, bad, and ugly, that just made me think. Okay, well, how do I plan for my future? How do I better myself? And then I go and let me stand in front of the mirror and challenge myself. Challenge yourself. Please, just try.